Coming to you live from the palatial studios of PBJ Productions. Welcome to Patrick and BJ Talk Real Estate, where we talk about life, the universe, and everything as it relates to real estate.
Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back talking all things real estate. And guess what? Today we are at Lake Cowichan. And, beautiful resort community. There's, people who live here year round as well, but
Oh yeah, it's just like a little village here. There's the population's like 3,000 people, and in the summer it's probably triple that, right? As everybody comes to visit.
yeah, so we decided to do a road trip up here. And so one of the reasons is because we, as much as we're in Victoria and everything, we do get around the island as well. So what are we talking about today? Since we're here.
Well, because we're on Lake Cowichan, I wanted to talk about things that you should know about or things to consider before buying your lakefront home.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a great list for you.
Okay.
Number one, utilities.
Okay.
Now think about, we had this kind of think about utilities and services. What did we lose on the way up here?
Cell service.
Yeah, not everywhere is going to have a cell service. So depending on if you're on the far west side of the lake, we're on the most east side of the lake right now, closest to civilization. But you want to make sure like what kind of services that you have here.
Sure.
If you're on this side of the lake, are you on municipal water,
Right.
sewer, electricity, well, septic?
Yeah.
All of those considerations
Sure.
to think about before you buy. So it doesn't matter if it's Lake Cowichan or if it's Shawnigan Lake or somewhere else up island.
Sure.
So, but you have to think about all of these things.
Even parts of Machosen.
Parts of Machosen, Prospect Lake
Souk.
doesn't have sewers along the backside there.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, we could go into a lot more details about it. But yeah, taking into consideration utilities.
Okay.
All right. The town's amenities. Right? Are you thinking about moving to be your primary residence
Yeah.
to be on the lake?
I laugh because the amenities are right behind us. It's the lake,
That's all we need.
right? We're right in front of the lake, actually. So the dock's behind us, and you hop in, go for a swim, or there. I saw a sign over there that right now they're not doing tubing because of the water levels and things like that. But
Yeah. Well, thinking about the lake for amenities, if you got to fuel your boat, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Repairs for your boat, let's say.
Yeah.
So any kind of water sports, and then all year round amenities. How far is healthcare services? Your the kids, where are they going to go to school?
sure.
Those kind of things. And yeah, you're a little further away from an international airport. Well, not that Victoria is like that much of an international airport, but it's that much further away if you're thinking about traveling away from your vacation destination place already.
Yeah. And where are you going to eat out? If you want to go eat out, I can see an A&W and a Subway.
You're going to Jake's. Jake's
Okay.
is pretty famous
Jake's,
here.
Jake's, yeah.
There's good eats here at
Yeah.
Jake's.
Yeah.
But definitely, I jumped into lake amenities already. So I covered lake amenities, and then for your home, you're on the water. Insurance requirements.
Yeah, because they're going to be a lot different than just standard home.
And the water levels change, right? Depending on how close you are, like if you got an older building, and depending on how the lay of the land is, like you might experience in extreme cases, the water level might come right up to your house. I know friends of mine personally, they've had property on the lake for years, and they've had at least one insurance claim. And then they have to sort of work on mitigating that.
Sure. And you have to
So-
deal with the water rising. I know, different province and everything, but years ago, my parents lived in Medicine Hat in Alberta, and a beautiful location, beautiful where their house was, right across from the river. However, if there was going to be a flood,
Oh yeah.
it was going to happen in their street. And so I remember one time my mom telling me that they had the sandbags all out, and they'd been given evacuation notices. They didn't have to leave, and it ended up that they didn't. But they had to be prepared for worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario. Well, that's
So-
perfect, because that leads me into my next point, and it's hazard protection. And we're surrounded by trees, logging areas, and mountains.
Yeah.
So, the concern around here is fire.
Yeah. Right.
So, what to do to protect your property, what to do to protect yourselves. So, having a plan, not just coming out here and buying property and putting your feet up and relaxing. No, it takes some forethought um, into living in this lifestyle here.
So just a giant sprinkler system won't do it then, hey?
It'll help. It'll help. But yeah, what a like an evacuation plan,
Yeah.
right? Because there's not many ways in and out of here.
That is true.
Yeah, and then you know, uh, number 6, I've got home and land improvements. Now, a lot of the houses along the lake, you see the big mansions, um, but you might not be able to get the perfect house that you're looking for. So you might have to be a little bit creative in your thinking that maybe it's a fixer-upper today, because there's a lot of old cottage properties still available.
Right.
um, but they might not fit your family, or might not have um, all like the space that you might need, or it's going to need a ton of work. I would think about uh, what is the location of the land over the usability of the house.
Right.
Is it the way you want it to be facing? Is it close enough to the marina? Is it on the quiet side? Is any of those things.
Sure.
So I would evaluate the piece of land before I evaluate the property.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Okay.
But it's kind of a long-term thinking
Yeah.
approach to that.
Okay.
And of course, BJ, we talked about this. We're at Lake Cowichan today, but we were sort of having a discussion about do you like Lake Cowichan or Shawnigan better? So
Yeah.
the first question I would ask is, why do you want to live on the lake?
Because you want to be in the water, I would think. Isn't that what you want to be? So you can get in the water if you want to without a whole lot of hassle.
That's awesome, but not all lakes are created equally,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So between like Lake Cowichan and Shawnigan Lake, there's differences to be offered.
Okay.
Obviously, Shawnigan Lake is closer to Victoria,
Yeah.
and Cowichan Lake is just west. We're east right now.
Yeah.
But just west of Duncan.
Duncan. Turn left at Duncan.
Turn left at Duncan.
If you're coming from Victoria. Yeah.
So, you sort of have to identify exactly what are the reasons why you want to live on the lake,
Yeah.
and then start figuring out, well, what works for you, which lake is the most appropriate. And then, of course, there's only so many pieces of property available
That's
at
right.
any given time,
Yep.
because it's a finite amount
Yes.
around the lake.
Right.
And of course, number 8, getting to know the rules and regulations and restrictions on each lake.
That's important, because you don't want to come into whatever the community is and be that guy or that family that is always, crossing the line, whatever that line is.
Well, there's speed limits, right? There's seasonal times where you can do certain things. There's lakes on Vancouver Island where you cannot have a combustion engine
Motor,
on there,
yeah.
motor engine,
Yeah.
or land a seaplane. So if any of those things are important to you, checking with the Ministry of Transport Canada, those will have all of the laws there to
Right.
to make sure. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I find a lot of times getting a hold of somebody locally,
Yeah.
because looking through government websites, like I found it took me hours to find correct information. It's almost easier to go to the municipality
Yeah.
and
And
have them direct you.
yeah. And you know what? When I lay down, I go to sleep. But if I were ever to have insomnia and need to help myself get to sleep, I'd be going to those websites.
Yeah, those things stimulate me, and I read all those weird things. So that's why I don't know. I've read
Uh,
bylaws and
Oh yeah.
zoning. Come on. So, okay, last one.
That's some leisure reading.
I like knowing stuff, right? So
Uh,
the last one is, and we
See,
sort of
that's why
touched on it.
that's why we're a team and why we're a partnership, because then Patrick can know the stuff and I can just talk to him for the answers.
I charge extra. Okay, so the last one, and we sort of touched on this at the beginning, just introducing
Yeah.
um, the town of Lake Cowichan, and it's being aware of seasonal traffic,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
right? So if
And
that bothers you,
yeah, because there's going to be a lot of traffic up here. We're in the heading for the end of May basically, and heading into June.
yeah,
But basically June on, it's going to be a lot of traffic up here.
yeah, if you're into that, into the atmosphere, into that vibe, hey, then that's great. Maybe that's part of the summer. But maybe on the other hand, if you want to escape from that, maybe looking at the other end of the
The
lake
other
where
side, yeah,
Yubo,
yeah,
what is it, Honeymoon Bay, where it's a little bit further along, a little bit removed from town, where oh yeah, so like I'm guilty of this. We'll drag up all the kids and we'll float in the lazy river right here,
yeah,
do the tubing,
sure,
right? So I'm part of the tourist problem.
yeah,
Um, and then it's like the weekends are going to be busier than the weekdays,
right,
because what your friends invite you. I don't have a lake house here, so they invite you out, and obviously there's more people on the weekends,
yeah,
even in the
sure,
residences
yeah,
here, right?
yeah,
And the boating traffic, all of that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
that wraps up all of my points that I've
okay,
prepared.
so that's a quick synopsis, and obviously this is not a comprehensive list, but if you do want to find out about, living in a lake community, feel free to reach out to us. As we've said before, our contact information is in the description, and we're happy to help. If you haven't, please take a minute and subscribe to the channel. It helps us with growing the channel, and like our videos. And if you think there's information here that would be good for people that to see, or you think they would just enjoy talking about or being with us to talk about some real estate stuff, please pass this information on to them. Otherwise, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
See you next time.